free app at beaconproplus.com.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Learning you have cancer is very serious, so when choosing a hospital, consider one that has these 3 essential elements: radiation oncology, medical oncology, and surgical oncology. You'll find all 3 at the Schiffler Cancer Center of Wheeling Hospital. We provide clinical trials, conduct research, and treat more patients than any area center. Plus, we have the region's only accredited comprehensive cancer program. Now that's cancer care close to home. The Schiffler Cancer Center of Wheeling Hospital.
Live and local conversation for the Ohio Valley continues shortly, here on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Hey, I'm going to the kitchen. Can I grab you a Coors Light?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Huh. I never knew there was a zip line in my fridge. Hey, buddy!
Yeah!
You got 2 Coors Lights up there?
You got it!
Always brewed down to 34 degrees. With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go, 2 Coors Lights.
Awesome, man. Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Sure. I mean, you being a mountain climber and all?
Yep.
You probably need a pretty warm coat in there, huh?
Yep.
Hey, Ben!
Yeah!
Ask him if he has any nachos.
You got any nachos in there?
No.
Just icy cold Coors Light?
Yep.
That makes sense. It is the Rockies.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
Managing your business can be a minefield. One step in the wrong direction, and it can feel like everything you've worked for is at risk. I always had a vision of building a team, a crew of true professionals that can handle it all: tax, insurance, and investments. Big enough to partner with Encova, but personal enough to protect your interests on the home front. I'm Gary, and this is the Glessner Group.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you are disabled? At Gellner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at GellnerLaw.com.
We'd like to help.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your Wednesday. Mostly sunny skies, a daytime high of about 89 degrees. Your overnight low of 62 under partly cloudy skies. Mix of clouds and sunshine for your Thursday, with highs in the upper 80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Good morning, old friends.
Hey, what are you doing here? About to go on the air.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is?
Wake up, fairy princesses, wake up!
Guess what day it is?
Get up before I get you up!
Guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Hump day.
It's Wednesday. She calls it over the hump day.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
We ain't one at a time in here. They broadcast me out on the radio. We're mass communicating.
Let Wednesday begin!
Hit it!
Live from the Robinson Auto Group studios in the heart of the Ohio Valley, this is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
It is Hump Day! Hump Day! What's coming up on the Wednesday edition of the Watchdog Morning Show? What are we going to be talking about today? Well, of course, schools started up in much of West Virginia yesterday, although some parents in the wrong-colored counties were asking questions yesterday, like, why are schools closed in their counties but not churches and casinos? We'll talk about some of that coming up in a minute or two. Across the river in Ohio, Governor DeWine tries to stamp out conspiracy rumors about FEMA camps. Our election coverage heading up to the election continues with delegate and state senatorial candidate Randy Schwartzmiller. In the D.C. Digest, Donald Trump asks a reporter to take off his mask. The DOJ wants to take over defense of Trump in a personal defamation lawsuit, which, by the way, simply means the power of the presidency is going to be used, the power of the federal government going to be used, the power of the Department of Justice going to be used to defend Donald Trump's personal actions. Senate GOP puts their COVID relief plan on the table. We'll take a preview of that before the morning is over and done with. Plus, more adult kids are living with parents. A 13-year-old autistic child killed following a 911 call. I've got tips for dining in, and I did not get to a story yesterday, which happens sometimes. I tell you we're going to do something and we get kind of off the track and don't get to it. But I had several people say, you didn't talk about the nude maids. So clearly y'all care about nude maids. I will get that coming up today here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Plus, it's game week for WVU, and Tony Caridi will have our Mountaineer report. All of this coming up in the next 2 hours because it is Wednesday, so the legislative watchdogs are in today at 9 o'clock. It is going to be another real hot and nice day today. Sunshine, blue skies all day. Maybe not quite officially as high as yesterday. Going to push around 90. Zach is calling it 88 for the predicted high. 65 degrees right now at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. 65 here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling. And 65 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. The weekend, of course, was sort of the unofficial end of summer. Labor Day is where we kind of, at least we used to say, we sort of turn the bend. Summer behind us, fall coming up, the return to school and all that sort of stuff. Weather isn't really saying that today, but it's the kind of unofficial end of summer. It doesn't officially end until September 22nd. So in general, how did this summer, the summer of 2020, the COVID summer, how did this summer compare to an average summer? They asked 1,500 Americans about that. How would you define this summer? Good, bad, terrible? Biffy, how would you describe the summer of 2020 for yourself? Good, bad, average, worse than usual, okay? What kind of phrases would you use?
I would say, for me personally, it was good. I mean, we got out and, we were still able to go play golf and, do what we would normally do with, of course, taking the precautions needed. So I'd say for the most part, it was a good summer.
I think I would concur with you. We got into the pool here at our home pool. Didn't get out to any public pools, but then again, we really haven't done public pools for a lot of years. So, we had rides with Teddy every day. We had picnics in the park. We went up to the bandstand and some other places where we ate our chicken or whatever it was, and Happy Meals and so on. So, and all in all, the weather was pretty good too. So it was a COVID summer. I mean, we had to be careful. I couldn't go have meals with my friends in restaurants. But I'm with you. I think I would call it a good summer. It's not going to go down as one of the best summers of my life, but it was a pretty good summer. But we're in a significant minority, Biffy. According to this survey of 1,500 Americans, only 14% called it a good summer overall. 38% called it an average summer. And I think that's a little bit unfair, because my average summer is good. You know what I mean? Was it an average summer? Yeah. And summer is pretty good. So, yeah, it was average, but that's because average, I think, was pretty good.
I think it would have been a better summer had the festivals and everything not been canceled.
That's a great point, although it's funny. It was such a huge deal. First of all, I think the first thing to move was the chili cook-off, and then eventually it was canceled. First thing to be canceled, officially announced cancellation, was the Italian Fest, and then all of the port events got canceled, and all of the outdoor events got canceled. And it seemed like such a horrible thing at the time. Oh, my God, no, the Italian Fest was, oh, my God, no. And sure, missed them. But, in retrospect, I didn't. I mean, do I wish that we'd had them? Sure. And would that have kind of perked up the summer a little bit? Yeah. But in retrospect, it really didn't bother me. Again, we still played in the pool, played in the backyard, played on the deck, got to go out and take our rides, picnicked in the park. In fact, in some ways, this might have been a better than average summer because, again, in my case, because we did a lot of picnicking in the park, which is something we haven't done for a long time. Teddy and I and my wife would grab some food and go out to the park and picnic. So it's funny. It was a big deal when all of these port events were canceled. But in retrospect, it didn't mess up my summer as much as one might think. So 38% of the people surveyed said they thought it was an average summer. 30% called it a bad summer. Maybe they're people that really wanted to go to the Italian Fest. I don't know. This is not a local survey, but maybe they're people that have certain summer activity. And I guess if summer is your travel time, I guess thinking out loud here, I suppose if you use summer to do vacationing, if you go to the beach or you go to the Grand Canyon and go here, there, or wherever, a lot of that was curtailed this year. So if summer was travel time, if summer is your traveling time, maybe it was a less than good summer for you. I don't know. 2% said the best summer ever. 2% said the best summer ever. And again, I may not go quite that far, but I would say it turned out to be pretty good because we did things that I've always wanted to do. Every year, my wife and I say, we should go and picnic in the park. And we never do. So this year we did. By the way, the most popular thing to do for Labor Day weekend, the Labor Day weekend just passed when the survey asked people what's the most popular thing to do over Labor Day weekend. You know what the answer was, Biff?
Cookout.
Nothing.
Oh, my.
Nothing.
Relax.
Just stay at home and relax. Exactly right. So that's how Americans are thinking about their summer. Part of this is the old, can we make lemonade out of lemons? And I think in many ways we can. Yeah, I couldn't travel to the beach, but could do some other things. Couldn't have the Heritage Port events, but we're able to do other things. I thought, for example, the fireworks display at Ogilvy this past weekend was really a nice way of doing things. You know, you couldn't have fireworks downtown Wheeling because everybody's all, packed into the Heritage Port. I mean, you can't do that during COVID time. As we drove through Ogilvy Park on, was it Sunday? Sunday, I guess, was when they had their fireworks. Sunday. There were people, but the park was full, but not in any one place. I mean, there were people on this hillside and that hillside and down by the lake and up by the lodge and over here. And it was, because once you're up there in Ogilvy, you can see the fireworks wherever you are. Which, by the way, our buddy the Bull did the fireworks up there at Ogilvy this year. And so I actually thought it was a better way of doing fireworks than the traditional downtown Wheeling display. Now, Ogilvy's always had a display, but again, you can't pack into the port, not during COVID time. But this was, everybody was out. People were just opening up their tailgates and pulling their chairs out of the back of their cars and sitting in a parking lot, and, nobody was gathering too close to each other. So actually, in some ways, this was a better event. So again, in some ways, this was a better summer, I think, than others. Anyways, I just thought that was an interesting little take on things. The one thing, of course, that I did miss this year, and I'm still missing, and I'm chomping at the bit, quite literally, is getting into a restaurant to eat. I have not been been in a restaurant for 6 months, I guess, right? Since March?
Yeah.
I mean, I have not been in, I live in restaurants. That's what I did. That was like my second home. And I have not been in a restaurant in probably 6 months. And that's what I'm really chomping at the bit to do. Have a little look here at, if you are beginning to think about going out to eat at restaurants, or if you have been, and I keep thinking, man, I have not even been to an outdoor dining yet. I'm getting closer and closer to it every day. Steve from St. C will be happy to hear me say that. I'm getting closer and closer to wanting to go in, at least to an outdoor dining venue every day. But here are some tips I came across this morning for if you are going to eat out in restaurant. Number one is, by the way, trust the people you're eating with. Okay? I got that, right?
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to eat with a bunch of strangers that are coughing and hacking and maybe have been all around COVID. So trust the people you're eating with. If you're going to go with family or close friends, make sure that everybody has been, somewhat diligent about staying away from COVID. Don't meet up. Some of this is ridiculous. Don't meet up with anyone who's been exposed to the virus. Well, duh.
Yeah.
Don't do that. If your friends went to a huge party and played beer pong on Labor Day, maybe do dinner with somebody else. Okay, all right, I get that. So trust the people you're eating with, number one. What about masks? What about masks? Do you wear a mask to a restaurant? My answer would be yes, but obviously you can't wear a mask while you're eating. Unless you got some kind of magic mask that lets you, somehow get the food through. Then the question becomes, do you take the mask off and put it back on? Take a bite, put a mask. Most experts are saying, nah, handling your mask too much is riskier than just leave it off when you're eating. When you're eating, take it off and leave it off. If you want to be really diligent, put it on, or at least hold it up to your face when you're talking to your server. All right, keep that in mind. But as long as you're wearing a mask, you're safe. And if you're eating, just take the mask off. And that certainly makes sense to me. Now, this is one I wouldn't have thought about, but it's a good point. Don't set your mask down on the table at the restaurant. Because no matter how well they claim they've cleaned it, and I'm sure that most area restaurants do their very best to clean the restaurant, don't trust it to be a clean table. So just pull your mask down or leave it in your pocket or your purse or in your possession some way while you're eating if you can take the mask off. And then the number one, bring a hand sanitizer. You want to clean your hands as soon as you sit down. Clean your hands frequently if you need to. Be careful about using the bathroom. Some experts say wash your hands before you leave the house, then use the hand sanitizer at the table, and if at all possible, stay away from the restrooms in restaurants. Just some quick tips for eating out at restaurants if you're thinking about it or if you're doing it. In the age of COVID, because it's still there. And again, I'm getting closer and closer to doing that. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting closer and closer to wanting to go out and to eat. All right, and just a few little kick things off here, segments I thought I would share with you this morning on the Watchdog Morning Show. 7:22 after the hour, 65 degrees, going to hit a high of 88, pushing close to 90 today. Have the forecast for you coming up in just a bit. Yesterday, Governor Justice had one of his press conferences on the first day back to school, and he talked about back to school, and he talked about what is going to happen likely going forward. But there were a number of parents who have been asking some questions, and Brad McElhenney, among others, thought he would ask the governor the questions that parents wanted to know. We'll talk about what did parents want to know and what did Gov have to say about it coming up here on the Watchdog Morning Show.
From the Watchdog Network, right now traffic. Here's the latest from the Robinson Auto Group.
for the I-70 Bridges project. Follow Ohio Valley Traffic Report on Facebook, WTRF 7 News, and the Watchdog for updates.
Throughout the Ohio Valley, back to school is looking different. Each day, parents, teachers, students, coaches, and administrators are finding solutions to situations that are unprecedented. All of us at the Highlands appreciate everything you are doing and are here for the items you need. Visit hitthehighlands.com for the current guidelines and updated contact information of our retailers and restaurants.
Oh, there's something so real about living local, and I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I'm living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I'm living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be. I'm not buying till I check Doan Ford.
Doan Ford has served their valued customers for over 50 years with superior sales and service, and that's why they say, for the best selection of new and pre-owned vehicles, check Doan Ford. For experienced, low-pressure sales, check Doan Ford. For fast, easy auto financing, check Doan Ford. Located at exit 208 off of I-70. And that's why you should say,
I'm not buying till I check Doan Ford.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your Wednesday. Mostly sunny skies, a daytime high of about 89 degrees. Your overnight low of 62 under partly cloudy skies. Mix of clouds and sunshine for your Thursday, with highs in the upper 80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
Hi, it's Hoppy Kirchville. Join me weekdays at 10 o'clock for Talk Line. We'll talk about the big stories affecting us in West Virginia, top political figures, sports personalities, sometimes just plain folks, offering their opinions on what's happening today. 10 to noon, right after the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
It's your turn to talk. From politics to pet peeves, get it off your chest and on the air. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
Well, it was back to school day for most students around West Virginia yesterday. Not all, but most students. 46 of the Mountain State counties resumed in-class instruction, although students in Monongalia, Kanawha, Putnam, Fayette, Logan, Mercer, Mingo, Monroe, and Wayne counties did not go back because they're on the wrong side of the color-coded map. They were in the orange or red category as depicted by the map that came out on Saturday night. And Saturday night is the defining map that you live with for the week. Of course, that map is based on daily confirmed COVID cases per 100,000 population in most counties, a little adjusted for smaller counties, but basically a 7-day rolling average of confirmed COVID cases per 100,000. That's how the map is drawn up. Although remember, the state health officials did say last week that they would massage the map a little bit. They would look at the numbers and then decide if the numbers really actually were adequate for what they want. In other words, they're going to try to get many kids back in school as possible, no matter what the number might be. The other thing the governor said yesterday, which again, this concerns me. We knew Brooke County was one of these. There are several schools, not counties, but several schools across the state where there already is a staff outbreak of coronavirus. Now, they're defining an outbreak as anything one or more, so there may be, and the governor did not talk about all of these schools and how many cases there were in any individual school, but in Brooke, Kanawha, Mason, and Mingo counties, there actually has been an outbreak of coronavirus already among the staff. So you have those who are not going to be able to have in-person learning because of the color coding for the county, and then individual schools in Brooke, Kanawha, Mason, and Mingo at the moment, at least as of yesterday, that are not going to do classes because I think two classes. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was 2 schools in Brooke County, right?
Yeah, it was 2.
And two schools had teacher outbreaks, or staff outbreaks, I assume it's teacher, but maybe not, but staff outbreaks that meant 2 schools were not able to have theirs. So 9 counties are out, and 4 individual counties have schools that are out, even if the entire county isn't out. But yesterday at the press conference, our buddy Brad McElhenney from Statewide Metro News thought he would take some of the questions that parents have been asking on social media and pose them to the governor. And actually, these are pretty good questions from parents. For example, here's one that Brad asked the governor. This is a social media request to Brad McElhenney. Please ask the governor why his color-coded map doesn't have more factors. How is this stopping the spread? Doesn't it discourage testing? Doesn't it punish the counties that test more? It's only affecting kids while life rages on elsewhere. Using them as a carrot is improper. There is a point to that. I mean, there is value in the question asked. Those counties that test more aggressively, and we know this to be true, will then have more positive cases, because the more you test, the more you'll find out what's going on out there. You could test less and be more blind about this, but if you test more, you'd likely have more positive cases. So that would then lead to the color-coded map changing. And the other thing that this parent said, only affecting kids while life rages on. Here's another mother in that same vein who asked this of Brad McElhenney. Ask the governor, why are the churches still open? Why are they picking on schools? Why not close gyms, churches, casinos, daycares? Now, I mean, I have a partial answer to that. I mean, the reality is that schools, number one, schools are mandatory. So you don't have a choice. Churches, you can choose to go, not choose to go if you want to. You don't have to go to the gym if you don't want to. So number one, many of those things are optional. And number two, schools are simply by their nature a bunch of kids combined together into a unit, which makes it easier to pass the COVID around. But it is a good question. It is a good question. If this color-coded map is referring only to schools, why? Why not other parts of if counties are in the orange or the red, why not other parts of the county being affected by this? Why not saying, okay, churches, no. I know the governor declared churches to be an essential service early on. I understand that. But, and gyms and casinos and daycares, as this parent asked. The governor, and I thought it was interesting, Clay Marsh, the COVID czar, said that the map we've published isn't really a school map. It's a public health map. Well, if it's a public health map, why is the only place that is affected by the color-coded map the schools? Now, again, here in the Upper Ohio Valley, we don't have too much of a problem. Brook is still in yellow, but other than that, we've got green up and down the panhandle, so it doesn't affect Ohio, Marshall, and so on. So locally, it's not an issue. But statewide, if you're in the orange or red counties, the 9 orange or red counties that are not allowed to have in-person school, I think it's a fair question, and especially in light of what Dr. Marsh says, it's not a school map; it's a public health map. So why not insist that if it's a public health map, that all entities have to adapt to that? Why only schools? The governor said, let's see, where are the governor's comments? The governor says he wants to protect students, teachers, and staff in counties where community spread is significant, and he has to defer to the health experts to do that. He says we are not holding the children as pawns in a game. That's what one of the parents said. They're pawns in a game. Nobody wants to go back to school more than I do, said the governor. There's so many things I might want to say there. So many things I might want to say. Maybe you should go back to school, Governor. Nobody wants to give parents choice more than I do. But again, do we give parents choice? I mean, are parents making the wisest decisions based on all the science? Or are they just, and I don't criticize parents for that. Are parents just saying, please, dear God, they've been in my house for 6 months, I got to get you out. And if it's not just sort of general frustration, maybe it's, I got to get back to work if you're a parent. So I get that, but do we give parents that choice? Is that a choice? Or is there a public health issue here? I thought they were pretty good questions. And so Brad asked them of the governor, and basically the governor did his usual tap dance around them. Well, I tell you, I care about everybody, and I'm doing the good things, and everybody else doing the bad things, and wow, that's just the way it is. I hear you, and your input is valuable, the governor said. I'm tempted to go, I value it. I don't really pay that much attention to it, but I value it. I value that. So, again, I think it's these are some interesting questions that were asked of the governor yesterday. Why only schools? Why only schools being affected by this? If it is to quote Clay Marsh, a public health map, not a public school map, then why are churches and casinos and daycares and gyms all not affected as well? Fair questions, I think. Fair questions to ask. And just real quick, statistically, COVID cases for the second week in a row are rising in West Virginia. According to the Department of Health and Resources, the number of positive cases over the last 14 days saw a 43% increase in positive cases from the previous 14 days. That's pretty healthy, and that continues to keep West Virginia at we're number one in terms of spread of this disease in the country. We are the number one community spread state in the disease. 43% increase in positive cases in the last 14 days. By the way, if any of you, how was your schooling yesterday? Would you text me, 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600? How'd your school day go? If you were a teacher, I'd love to hear from you, or an administrator, or school service personnel, if you're staff, or if you are a parent, how did your kids do? Teddy had his first day back in school yesterday. Now, he was in class for half a day. He loved it. Had a great time, saw his friends. They were the school was very good about following social distancing and all that kind of good stuff. But, I mean, Teddy was just so excited, got up early yesterday, put on his nice little uniform. I just made me want to cry. The little kid's got a uniform now that he wears to school. But he was he had a new book bag. Backpack. I called it a book bag. He yelled at me. Granddad, it's not a book bag, it's a backpack. Okay, all right. He had a new backpack. So he had a very good time in school. Half a day yesterday, and I think half a day today, too, before he gets back to a full-time. So, and then one of the other grandkids, Ariana, is doing her learning all remote. Her parents chose to do the all remote learning system for at least a few weeks, and so we talked to them last night, and I think the little girl got, she's 11, I think she got the remote learning a lot faster than Mama did. Mama looked a little frazzled. Biff was like, I gotta figure out how to do all this stuff. So, but I'd be curious about the rest of you. 304-214-1600. How did your kids do as they went back to school yesterday? Or did they go back to school? Did you do remote learning? And if so, how did that work for you? I'd love to hear you share that with me. Now, coming up, we're going to check in with Zach for the forecast. It's going to be another hot day today. Also, we'll be talking about FEMA camps in Ohio. Are they coming to steal your children? God help us, people are believing that. The governor had to talk about it yesterday. We'll get into that coming up. And in the D.C. Digest, President Trump gets into a tiny kerfuffle with a reporter because the president says, take off your mask. And the reporter said, yeah, I don't think so. Just one of the stories we went into in the D.C. Digest. But right now, let's get into some headlines from our friends of the Big Seven.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Tom.
All right, back in a minute, Biffy.
Our base schemes.
Brown says a lot of players will see action, including a number of freshmen. The Mountaineers are limiting attendance at the game to only family members of players and coaches and essential game personnel. The Louisiana Tech Baylor season opener set for Saturday in Waco won't be played because of a recent increase in positive COVID-19 tests at Louisiana Tech. And Oklahoma State's opener scheduled for Saturday against Tulsa. It'll be pushed back 1 week until September 19th. High school sports line tonight, 7:06 until 9 o'clock on Metro News and streamed at WVMetroNews.com. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. Baseball, Pirates scored a run in the bottom of the ninth. Pittsburgh beat the White Sox 5-4. Pinch runner Jason Martin scoring the winning run in the bottom of the ninth on an error committed by Sox catcher Yasmani Grandal. Cubs beat the Reds by a final of 3-0. Cubs starter Alec Mills pitched 6 shutout innings. Baltimore over the Mets, 11-2. Miami won to win its NBA playoff series over Milwaukee. From the Metro News Sports Desk, I'm Kyle Wiggs.
WKKX and WVLY voted coolest couple in their high school yearbook. Give us a call and tell us what you're thinking. Locally, 304-214-1600. Out of the area, toll free, 866-514-1600 or 304-232-TALK.
He rambles, he rants, and sometimes he sings. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
Indeed I do, and indeed it does. Coming up in a bit, Governor DeWine has to talk about why in the world... Let's see. Yeah, that's right, Governor DeWine, right? He's the governor, right? DeWine's the governor?
Of Ohio, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Unless you're talking about West Virginia, then we got a problem.
No. For some reason, I said that out loud, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. And no, that's not right. Yeah, Governor DeWine has to explain that nobody is coming to take your children and lock them up in FEMA camps. We'll get into that coming up in a bit. Next hour, candidate conversations continue with our ongoing series of interviews every Wednesday with labor candidates for the election that's coming up. And we'll talk to Randy Schwartzmiller today, and he'll be our first guest in this segment of interviews. But right now, let's talk about the weather, where it looks like another good day is in store. Zach is here to bring it all to us. Good morning, Zach.
Well, good morning, Howard. How are you this fine Wednesday?
I'm good. It was a pretty good day yesterday. Looks like another good one today, I guess, right?
Yes, sir. It looks like expected highs again back into the mid to upper 80s throughout the Ohio Valley. Mostly sunny skies expected. I should have probably worn the fair weather tie, the good weather tie with those bright blue skies and abundant sunshine. But I decided to give it a rest today. Maybe I'll break it out for Thursday. But Biff and I were actually talking about it. He says it didn't feel as muggy yesterday, and I certainly had to agree. Dew point values are expected to hover similar to where they were yesterday, with dew point values into the mid-60s. So it won't feel as muggy or overly oppressive compared to where it certainly has been. Some people might notice it. Other people, they might not notice it at all. But again, a very nice-looking day expected for today, maybe even into your Thursday as well.
Yeah, I would agree with you and Biff. I don't think it felt as muggy as I thought it could or would yesterday. It was hot, don't get me wrong. It was warm. Yep. But it just didn't have that oppressive mugginess to it that I thought it would be. And, of course, every once in a while I get a nice little breeze blowing through, and that makes a big difference, too. So that helped out. But a beautiful-looking day, and that was, just with sunshine all day, just really, really great looking. And we'll see that again today. And really, up until the weekend, we're going to see nice-looking days, right?
Yes, sir. It looks like Thursday, much of the same. That high pressure down to our south, which has been giving us these warm temperatures, tropical air coming in from the tropics in southeastern United States, are going to be impacting us until Thursday. And I like to say Friday is going to be a little bit of a transition day where we're going to be changing the guards in terms of weather. I'm expecting to see more clouds building in. Dew point values are hovering again into the mid-60s. They could drop. Not too confident on how the mugginess is going to be on Friday, but it looks like more substantial rain is going to be coming in Saturday afternoon, and then widespread rain is expected on Sunday. So again, we had a very nice looking stretch of weather this week. Again, not much in terms of rain through Labor Day weekend, extending through Labor Day, and then into the second full week of September to think about it. And then heading into the weekend, it looks like some rain showers are expected just to, again, green up the grasses some. I know we've had some pretty substantial rain the past 2 weeks, and we've kind of gone a little bit of a break without any rain. So some welcoming rain could be expected, and I'm certainly looking forward to it.
Yeah, and yesterday was such a beautiful looking day. It was really pretty much azure blue skies all day long. At one point, in fact, grandson Teddy said, "Granddad, where are the clouds?" Because there really weren't even any clouds up there. It was just a beautiful blue sky.
Right, yep.
And we are likely to see that again today, I gather.
Yes. That is all thanks to high pressure, which is associated with sinking air, and that is why there's not really much in terms of any clouds overhead and through the entirety of the Ohio Valley.
I always like to share different surveys with my listeners. I come across them, and they know I'm big on surveys. Came across a survey this morning that Biff and I were talking about. Survey asked 1,500 Americans to define their summer, the summer of 2020. Was it an average summer, a really great summer, just a good summer, better than average, worse? I mean, how do you describe? Of course, you're probably just happy you had a gig. So that was the first thing that probably made this a good summer for you. But how would you define this summer in your life, Zach? Was it a good summer, an average summer, what?
So not thinking about it weather-wise, just in terms of how did I think it went. I would say it was a good summer. Again, probably one of the big reasons for that was obviously getting the first job, graduating college. But again, other than things not being open and not doing, typical summertime activities, going to baseball games, seeing friends out on the weekends, it was good. There was no nothing really to complain about. Again, maybe sports would have been nice to see, the Stanley Cup Finals, the NBA Finals, those kind of things. But I'm not going to complain too much. It certainly could have been a lot worse. But of course, anyone can say, if it wasn't bad, then it could have been better, which, again, it certainly could have been better. But I'll say if we were to give it a grade in terms of school, I would give it a C+.
Yeah, Biff and I both agreed. This was actually a pretty good summer. Now, it was not a typical summer. I mean, here in the Ohio Valley, for example, and you haven't been here, so you wouldn't know, but traditionally, every single weekend, there's a huge festival down at Heritage Port during the summertime. Every weekend, there's some festival down there with, food and drink and festivities and activities and so on. And there was none of that this year because of COVID, so all the port events were canceled. So it wasn't a typical summer, but I think it was a good summer. And Biff concurs with me that in terms of our personal lives, it was good. For me, it gave me a chance to do some things that I wouldn't have traditionally done. For example, we did a lot of picnicking in the park with my grandson, which is something I think is a great thing to do, but we really never did that before. But this summer, we were frequently out, grab something to eat, head down to Wheeling Park or up to Ogilvy Park, find a picnic table, and just get out and spread out, just our family, our little tiny family group, and have something to eat. That was good. It was different. That's something I wouldn't normally do. It actually forced me to do some different things, and I liked that. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it certainly was a lot more getting out of the house, I guess. Noticed a lot more people outside running on the parks and the trails and just doing outdoorsy activities, which, hey, I'm all about being outside and just enjoying the nice weather whenever it's around. And certainly, I guess the pandemic allowed more people to be out and about, maybe even more active compared to just kind of staying in and just kind of doing their normal routine. So I was certainly, again, I agree with you on that. Certainly okay to do the new things just because there weren't a lot of other things to typically do.
Although only 14% of the people surveyed called it a good summer, 38% said average. And I guess maybe I'd call it average, but my average is good. I mean, my average summer is a good summer. So was it average? Well, yeah, but that's actually pretty good. So I guess I would go along. The 30% said a bad summer. And I guess, again, if you love the port events here in Wheeling, for example, and so or wherever you might be, and you couldn't do some of that stuff, maybe it was kind of a bummer for you. And I suppose if you were a traveler, if summertime was vacation time, traveling vacation time, I think there's a lot less of that this year than there has been in years gone by. If you're used to packing up and going to the beach or packing up and heading out west on a Grand Canyon adventure or something, probably less of that done this year. So maybe those are the folks who had a bad one. But for me, it was good. It was good. Yeah. And by the way, I intend to continue having a good time in the summer until at least September 22nd when it officially ends.
Yeah, that's certainly the goal. I mean, it feels like summer with these high temperatures, so certainly get out and enjoy it.
Absolutely. All right, Zach, I appreciate your time today. As always, we shall talk to you again tomorrow. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you. We'll see you.
Have a great day. All right, our buddy Zach Petty from the Big 7, WTRF TV. So, again, good summer for me. A different summer, different than usual. We were out on the deck a lot more. I was talking with some friends of mine. I mentioned we had some friends come over for dinner the other night, and that was one of the things we were talking about was we've been out on the deck more this year than we have in years gone by. Now, partly it's simply because the weather has been really nice and amenable to that. And again, I think also because we're not really going anywhere else, so we sit on the deck and have a good time. But it was a good summer. You all can decide how your summer was, and if you want to share your summer thoughts with me, you know what to do. 304-214-1600. 304-214-1600 is the Watchdog Radio Network text line. Always happy to hear from you. 65 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. 65 degrees here at my home studios. 65 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling, in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Zach was mentioning baseball. I'm looking over our friends from FanDuel, Biffy. By now, of course, you all know that FanDuel is a world-class sports betting app. We've talked about it for many, many months now. They make it easy to find and easy to place your bets, and they've got some of the best odds you're going to find anywhere, constantly enhanced odds boosts. They get you your winnings in as little as 24 hours. We've talked about that. And they have all kinds of just fun kind of bets you can place. For example, I'm looking over some of their bets for example, Major League Baseball, Biffy. You can place a straight bet on a game or place a straight bet on the World Series. One of the Pirates are still 30,000 to 1 on the World Series.
I'll have to check on that.
Let's check on that. But they've got what they call their seventh inning stretch insurance. You can place a pre-game money line wager, and if your team leads during the seventh inning stretch, but then goes on to lose the game, you get a refund in site credit. All right, so just something fun to play with. You place your bet, pick your team on a specific game, make a big straight bet on the game. And then if your team is leading at the seventh inning but loses by the end of the game, you get some money back, or you get site credit back, to be very specific. That's kind of neat. That's for all Major League Baseball games. Let's see here. What else have we got? There was another one. Oh, yeah. This is kind of fun, too. This one's over. Never mind. They wrapped it up over this past weekend, so I can't give you that one. But they've got all different kinds of odds and all different kinds of bets that you can place on FanDuel. So pick the bet that works for you and have some fun with it. Having fun is the important thing in FanDuel or any other kind of gaming that you're going to be doing. See for yourself why FanDuel is the number one sportsbook app. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started, first of all. Use my name, Monroe, in the promo code box, MONROE. That way they know that we sent you here from the Watchdog Morning Show. FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code Monroe. Now, you must be 21 or older. You must be physically present in West Virginia, or you can be in Pennsylvania or New Jersey, because they also have the legalized gaming. This is for your first online real money wager only. You place your first bet on FanDuel Sportsbook, risk-free. Get up to $1,000 back in site credit if you don't win. So if you win, you win. Life is happy and good, and you go on. But if you lose, they simply replace the amount that you bet back into your account, which you can use again anywhere over the 14 days to place a second bet. It's kind of like a do-over. Now, some restrictions do apply. See the full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. And as I said, gaming is fun. And almost everybody I know that loves to gamble and gameplay, they do it for fun. They put a certain amount of money up in their mind that they're going to use. If you lose, you lose. Happy goes on because it's just the game that's fun. However, if you have a gambling problem, if you cannot do it for fun, if it's serious business for you and you end up spending way too much money, and I've known folks who've done that, then you ought to call for some help. 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-GAMBLER is the phone number, or www.1800gambler.net. FanDuel Sportsbook, they are your number one sportsbook, and we hope that you'll try them out. Biffy, we've got, 2 games coming up this weekend on high school football, right?
Yes, we do. We have one on each station, and both games starting at 7 o'clock. On
Friday night.
On Friday night, yes. On 1600 and 98.1 FM, it'll be Wheeling Central traveling to Parkersburg, and over on 1370 and 97.7, Preston County at John Marshall.
And, of course, on Saturday, it's the kickoff of Mountaineer football here on the Watchdog. We are your official Mountaineer football station here in the Upper Ohio Valley. We have all of the games and all of the ancillary activities. For example, tomorrow night, Neil Brown press conference on the Watchdog. Game day kicks off at 8:30 in the morning the game doesn't kick off. Game day kicks off at 8:30 in the morning on Saturday.
Yes, and kickoff is at noon against Eastern Kentucky, and that is the same Eastern Kentucky team that Marshall beat 59-0 last week.
Okay, so catch all the games here every week on the Watchdog, your new voice for Mountaineer football. How are they coming up, and are they ready for the game? Tony Caridi is going to join us with the Mountaineer Report coming up next hour and talk about that. But right now, let's talk about the news.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
News. I'm sure.
Okie dokie. Okay, that's good. That's actually better. Good. I wasn't sure. That's great. So I will talk to him first and let him lead us into Randy, and he and I make sure he knows that he and I can both ask questions. He doesn't have to just let me do it. So, and then Randy will call in, I guess, in a bit. Okay, that's great. Good. I'm glad he's there. That's excellent. He's just hanging out. He's ready to be a dog. Okay, all right. I'm going to go get another Dr. Pepper. I'll be back in a minute. Thanks.
Is there any more doses at the...